Alright, we're going to do a tutorial on installing Plex Media Server on Ubuntu. I have downloaded the latest Ubuntu and I'm going to install it through Virt Manager. So this isn't a tutorial on how to use Virt Manager, so don't expect anything on that. So let's go ahead and create a new VM. Browse to my ISO, Ubuntu 2010. Forward. Let's give it 80 gigs. Forward. Change my network to my manually created network. Finish. And it's going to boot. Once it comes time to install Ubuntu itself, I'm going to pause the video until it's completed because it takes a little bit, and then I'll continue. A little loud. Then I'll continue with the tutorial on installing Plex Media Server. So we're going to install Ubuntu. Continue English. Continue. Yeah, use my 80 gigs I created. Yes. My name, time zone. My name, Rich. I just name you Ubuntu. My password. Continue. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video here and actually I don't even know. Yeah, I'll pause the video here and let this finish because this does take a while. So I'll be back as soon as it's done. Okay, so it has finished installing. I'll go ahead and restart now. Now, for some reason with Ubuntu, I've noticed that usually it tells you to uninstall the media, the ISO that you have in there to boot from. This has been freezing for me because usually it goes to a point to where it tells you to unmount the ISO that you have, but this has been freezing. So let's see what it does. If it freezes, then I'll have to force a reset or a reboot. Yeah, it's like it gets here and it just stays here, so I don't really know what that's all about. So let me just go ahead and force off, yes, and reboot. Log in. Skip. No, don't send any info. Next. And next. I'm done. Let me get my terminal. Yes, here. And let's just make it a favorite so we have it there. Now let's change my screen here. So I want to do X-Rander. S, and let's just do 1920 by 1080. Alright, looks better. Alright, so I do have some notes over here on the other monitor. I'm normally an Arch Linux guy, so I don't really use Ubuntu all that much. I have many years ago, so just bear with me. First thing I'm going to do is let's just run an update. See if there's any updates pending. See where we're at. Get upgrade. Yes. basically I'm doing in the terminal what this is wanting me to do, so I'm just going to close that out. I'll go ahead and pause this while this is updating. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I'll pause it just in case. Okay, so this is done. Clear up the terminal. Now, let's install Plex. First thing we want to do is install CIFS so that I can read the Windows shares. So sudo apt-get install cifsutils. Let's make a directory for our mount point for my NAS. Sudo make directory mtnas and g edit. Right now we're going to make a text file with your username and password. SMB credentials. Username, admin, password equals. I'm going to pause on over here for real quick. Okay, saving the username and password. Didn't want you guys to see my password, otherwise I'd have to change it. But okay, so we got to change the permissions on the SMB credentials. So it's going to be chmod 600 SMB credentials. Now we need to create our mount point in FS tab. So sudo nano etc FS tab. Scroll down, I'll just put NAS. 60.54. This is the location for my NAS. That's the mount point. CIFS. Credentials equals. This is our SMB credentials we just created. So it's home rich dot SMB credentials. IO char set UTF equals 8 equals UTF-8 and security equals NTLM SSP. Okay, so that should be good. So let's exit out there and save. Control X and yes to save. Now let's mount. Alright, so we got no error. So mounting that seemed to have worked. To double check, let's just do a cd mnt NAS and ls. Yep. Okay, I'm connected. Now we need to install curl. Sudo apt-get install curl. Now I need to add to my source list repository, and I'll leave this in the description. And then we use curl to add the keys. Okay, curl added, or keys added. So let's update sudo apt-get update. As you can see, we've got now the downloads.plex.tv repo. So we can do a search for the repository for Plex, and we should get an application. So let's do a sudo apt cache search Plex, enter, and the very bottom one is Plex Media Server. So we're going to install that. So sudo apt get install Plex media server. Enter. Yes. I just take the default here. I'm going to keep our current version, so I just hit enter. Now Plex Media Server has been installed, so let's check the services. So in order to check the services, you do a sudo system ctl status Plex Media Server. As you can see, it's loaded and it's active. So Q for quit. Now we need to make sure that it loads every time. So when you reboot, you want Plex Media to run. So in order to do that, we do a sudo system ctl enable Plex Media Server. Enter. So just to make sure that it's enabled after running that, we can do a system ctl status, or no, is enabled Plex Media Server. And it should say enabled, so we're good. So basically, everything is up and running, so we need to connect to the web interface of Plex Media. So to get your IP address of your Ubuntu server, just do an IP dash, or not IPA, and mine is 192, so just go ahead and copy and paste this. Open up Firefox and HTTP, paste it. The port for Plex is 32400 /web, and this is what we want. Now for me, I already have a Plex account, so I'm going to continue with email. Oops. Alright, let me do my verification. I got two-factor authentication, so I need to go to my, come on. Alright, so come on. Here, jeez, can't type. Go ahead and enable DRM. That'll install in the background. So wait just a minute here and Plex come back up. There you go. All right, got it. Name your Plex server, whatever you want. I just leave it as default. This is if you want remote access, which I actually like to do that. So when I'm at work, I can connect to my Plex Media server and listen to my music. So click next. Now we need to add a library. So I'm just going to do my first library. I'll do my movies. So I'll select movies. Next, I'll browse for the folder. And to the mount point that we created earlier is MNT, NAS, and my movie directory is movies. So add library. I'll add another library. Will be my music. Next, browse for the folder. MNT, NAS, and my music. Add library. So we go next, and done. Now you will see I actually have another Ubuntu server running on my Arch box, so that's why you see this here. So this box here, Ubuntu, is what we just created, movies and music. So if you click on movies, it should be populating. There you go. How sweet is that? And my music, chugging along. I've got quite a few gigs of music, so that'll be chugging along for a little while, grabbing all the album art and stuff. So this is it. Not much to it. A little different than Arch Linux, but somewhat the same. So that's the install of Plex Media Server. Thanks.